Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. You could do better than that. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Oh, there you go. Welcome to BTBJ as we celebrate Shabbat and as we celebrate with Shayne and his family as he becomes bar mitzvah. It's a very exciting moment, and we are really thrilled to have all of you here with us tonight. I'm Rabbi Roni Handler. This is Cantor Benjamin Greenfield up on the bima with me, of course, along with Shayne. And we welcome you to BTBJ tonight. We are so excited to gather with Shayne and his family as he celebrates becoming bar mitzvah, which really just means that it is really neither the beginning nor the end of his Jewish journey, but we are celebrating an important step along the way because Shayne has already spent so many years here learning Hebrew and traditions and stories and history and connecting with his friends and with the Jewish community. And we hope that as he continues to grow and become an adult, that he'll continue to find ways to connect and to add his own views and takes on everything, even as there is so much more to learn about Jewish tradition. So we hope that this is just the beginning of what will be a lifelong engagement with the Jewish community and our traditions and values. And we are so thrilled to have all of you with us tonight, and also those who are joining on live stream. We do want to limit the participation of those who are not in the room right now. So if you have not turned off or silenced your devices, now is a great time to do that so that we don't disrupt Shayne as we're moving through our service. We are going to get started on page 213 with the third piece down on the page, which says, Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How wonderful it is for all of us to be here together this evening, celebrating together. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. We continue on page 214 with Ashrei.
You can sit behind me.
Ashrei, Ashrei, Yoshvei, beitecha, Odye Hallelujah, Odye Hallelujah. Ashrei,
We pick up together again on page 215.
Tehillah,
Tehillah,
Adonai,
Adonai
yedaber pi, v'yivarech kol basar, Shem kodsho le'olam va'ed, v'anachnu nevarech yam, me'ata
turn to page 217 as Shayne leads us in Chatzi Kaddish.
1 second. Take a deep breath. I got you. Ready? Let's do it together. Ready? Yikadav, v'yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divra kirete, v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'chayetecho be'Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman kariv, v'yimaru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, li'olam li'almei almaya yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalav, Shemei Kedusha Brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata, V'shirata, tushbehata, nechemata, tamira me'alma, v'imaru. Amen.
At this time, I'd like to invite Shayne's parents to come on up to the bima with his talit. And Shayne, if you can go right down here to meet them, because this is going to be a moment where they present you with your talit for the very first time. But it is worth noting that this talit, sometimes when we are coming to this moment, maybe there's someone special in your life who visited Israel and purchased a talit, or maybe you saw one in a store and you said, yep, that's the one for me. In this case, this talit that you're being presented to today is actually being passed on to you. So this talit was presented to your dad when he became bar mitzvah, and today we pass it on to you. So as we celebrate becoming bar mitzvah, we are celebrating the passing on of tradition, of receiving it to the next generation, of that new person becoming of the community, counted in all of the ways. And in this case, we are very literally doing that, passing tradition on to you in this moment. So the Torah instructs us, Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt writes, to tie these tzitzit on the corners of our garment. And the purpose of that is so that when we look at them and every time we put on our talit, that we'll remember all of the mitzvot, all of the things that we've been taught about that God tells us to do in order to, be a part of the Jewish community and really just to be good people in the world. Because mitzvot, at their essence, are ways of connecting us with one another, connecting us with Torah, connecting us with God, connecting us with all those who came before us. And so we hope that you will find holiness and meaning in this talit each time you put it on, Shayne. And every time you wrap yourself in the talit, you can think about all of these beautiful faces who are here today, who love you and who have supported you up until this day, and who no doubt will continue to do so in the future. And we hope that you'll always feel this connection to our shared past and history and story, even as you march on and find new meaning in the future. So I'm going to ask you to hold it up for him so that he can be ready to put it on. And then we'll join in the blessing before he puts it on. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu l'hitatef b'tzitzit. Amen. Feel free to hug and kiss. There's no extra charge. All right, so Shayne, we're going to ask you to stay up here, and the two of you can have a seat for the moment. Okay, you can head over to Kinder Benjamin. So we turn to page 218, and we now move into our Torah service. And each week, we read from the Torah Shabbat morning, and then again during our Shabbat Mincha service. So in the morning, typically, we read one parsha. This morning, actually, the parsha we read was specific to the holiday of Shavuot, which has also, we've been celebrating since Thursday night. So instead of the regular weekly Torah portion this morning, we read from a piece that is set aside specifically for Shavuot. And now tonight, as we get to Mincha, we read from the Torah again, but this time we're already up to the next episode. So the Mincha Torah reading is a little bit like the teaser, like that comes at the end of one episode that you're watching on TV to tell you what's going to happen next time. This is the teaser of what's coming in next week's Parsha. So we get like a little snippet, and then next week we get to see it again. So we'll encounter the Torah portion again when we read Torah on Monday, and again on Thursday, and then next Shabbat morning we'll engage with a whole big part of it all over again. So we're going to have the little teaser tonight as we dive into Torah, and our Torah service will begin on page 218. I'd like to invite Madison to come on up because she's going to help open the ark for us as we get ready to take out our Torah. Please rise if you're comfortable and able to do so. Oh my gosh, you're doing it. You're so strong. It's really hard to do. Yeah. Come on, stay here. You're going to have to close it at the end, okay? Just stay there. I'll tell you when. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, U'devar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, V'yamo Yisrael b'kedushato. Madison, let's close it, okay? Watch your fingers. All right. Good, you can have a seat if you want. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, u'neromem Shemo yachdav. That way. If you two want to go walk around with him, you're welcome. Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki kol b'shamayim. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Welcome back. Still doing okay? Okay. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Nice to have you all here. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
V'imeru.
Amen.
You may be seated. So before we dive into the reading of the Torah, we're going to make sure we're in the right spot.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. And first, so that we have a sense of what we're reading, what the teaser is of our Torah reading that we're getting right now, I'm going to ask Shayne to share some of his reflections on the Torah portion. So your Devar Torah is right back there. And so that you have a little bit of a sense of what we're reading, in case, just following along with all the Hebrew is not something that immediately translates in your mind to follow what it is that we're saying when we get to our Torah reading in just a minute. So Shayne will share a little bit of what's happening in this Torah portion and also some of his reflections.
Shalom, everyone. I want you up front that this Torah speech may be a first, because not only did I receive help from my mother, Rabbi Roni, and my grandfather, Shayne Goldblum. After all, what?
Here, come on over. Slow down.
After all, I was born in... Wait, start over?
Yes.
Start over.
Start them. Yes, you get them all again.
Shalom, everyone. I want I want you to know up front that this tour speech may be a first, because not only did I receive help from my mother, Rabbi Roni, and my grandfather, Joe Goldblum. After all, I was born on his 60th birthday, and thus we share milestones like this. But also, and this is true from ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence. Just kidding. I want to thank all of them. Anyway, my Torah portion, the longest in the Torah, is called Naso, which means census or count. In my Torah portion, God commanded Moses, who was wandering in the desert, to take a census of the Israelite tribes, so a tabernacle could be constructed, where they could all pray. The census counted 22,300 men, women, and children, but I learned not every person would be allowed into the tabernacle. In order for the tabernacle to stay pure and holy, only the pure could enter, and sinners were kept outside the camp so that they would not defile the tabernacle. Women had to add a burden to prove themselves pure and often not permitted to enter. God also commanded Moses to enforce strict rules for cleanliness and directed Moses to send diseased individuals and anyone who had been near a dead body or had a defiling skin disease not to be allowed in the tabernacle. When I read this, I wondered if these rules were fair or kind, particularly with respect to those with a disease. But I think that there's a deeper meaning here. The Lord is putting a premium on protecting the community as a whole. He understands the strength of community, men and women working together for a common goal. By sending diseased individuals outside the camp, he's preventing the spread of infection and ensuring that the tabernacle remains a safe and holy space. Fast forward to our time and the COVID pandemic, we have seen firsthand how infectious diseases can spread quickly and devastate communities. In ancient times, the diseased and impure were isolated. But only 3 years ago, during the COVID pandemic, we too faced isolation, masking and lockdowns to protect ourselves and our loved ones. Before a vaccine was available, people who were infected with COVID had to be isolated and treated in hospitals away from their families and friends. It was a difficult and painful time for all of us, but it was necessary to prevent the spread of the virus. Fortunately, there is one big difference between the Lord's ancient rules of over 4,000 years ago and our own response to COVID. While the Lord's rules focus solely on isolation and separation, modern medicine eventually allowed us to find a different solution. Scientists were able to develop a vaccine in record time, and now people all over the world have received the vaccine and returned to a sense of normalcy. We were able to find a way to protect ourselves, but first we followed the Lord's ancient rules of isolation. I believe that we can learn a lot from the Lord's rules for purity in the tabernacle, as well as from our own experiences with the COVID pandemic. We can see that it is important to make measures to protect ourselves and our communities from infectious diseases, even if those measures are difficult or painful. We can also see that modern medicine and technology have given us new tools to fight these diseases and find a way forward. As I celebrate my bar mitzvah and become a young adult, I see that our religion has advanced. Women, at least in this synagogue, are welcomed and treated equally. But I also see that the ancient commandments and rules that were made to protect our community remain important today. We must do our part to protect our larger community. I hope that we can all continue to learn from these ancient texts. May we all strive to keep our communities pure and holy, and may we find ways to protect ourselves and each other from harm. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. So as we read any one Torah portion, there's always all of these different things that are happening in them. And so, I always say to the students that you can't talk about all of them. If we were to go really deep into every different section, we'd be here all year. But it's always nice to see the ways in which our students do kind of pick out the thing that speaks to them in this moment in order to engage deeply with that piece. And so you got a little taste of that this evening. And I invite you to follow along as we're reading, and you'll get to see some other pieces of the Parsha as well in our Torah reading. So in a moment, our ushers are going to be coming around with a little bit of a sweet treat. These are not meant to be snacks. You'll get that soon enough. But what we're going to do is move into our Torah reading, and I'm going to ask everyone to take one or two of these and hold on to them. Try not to crinkle too much. And at the end of the Torah reading, after Shayne has a chance to read from the Torah himself, we'll tell you when, but you're going to hold these sweet treats in your hands. You're going to think about all of the blessings that you have for Shayne on this day as he celebrates and becomes a bar mitzvah, and you're going to put all of those blessings into those little candies. And then when we start singing, you're going to gently toss those up here. Try not to take an eye out. Gently toss them up here and send all of those blessings to Shayne so that hopefully he can get them whether or not he's hit in the head with them. Hopefully they'll just kind of be up here and, he'll get them even if they're just around him. So they'll be coming around to give those out to you. So just hold on tight to them, and we'll let you know when it's time to go. Okay. So our Torah reading for this evening will begin in your larger of the two red books on page 791. And we are in the smaller book, the blessings before and after the Torah reading are on page 219. I'm coming. Is there a Chumash over there? No. I could. You'll go there and I'll go the other side. Okay, great. Sounds good. Yeah, that's fine. Let me come around. That makes sense because I'm reading and you're not. So, okay.
All right.
Go for it. Amen. Yatem hadvekim Adonai Elohechem Hayim Kolchem Hayom. For our first Aliyah, we invite up Shayne's grandparents, Jane and Joe Goldblum, and Marty and Sandy Rosenzweig. And our Torah reader for our first Aliyah will be Shayne's mom, Michelle Goldblum. We are so proud of you for taking this on. Here's this. I want to just
Should hang out over here. So we're gonna have do all this. Okay. So, Michelle, you're gonna hang out over here, and from here I'll follow in the scroll for you. Okay. Here's a talit for you to take to.
And are we starting in the beginning or chapter 4? We're starting in the beginning?
No, sir.
Yeah, the beginning. Okay,
Yeah.
That's not what it said in the thing. Okay, great.
You got the right one.
Just a second.
We're starting right up here. You take the tzitzit at the bottom, and
Just
you
touch
touch
the
the
spot
spot
where-
where I'm pointing here. Okay? Ready? Yep.
All right.
And then we do
1,
two.
2, 3. Baruch
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Yerbach Arbanu Mikol Ha'im V'natan Lanu Torah.
Amen. Vayadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor naso et rosh b'nei Gershon gam hem lebeit avotam lemishpachotam mi ben shaloshim shana ba'amala Yad Ben Hishin Shana Tikod Om Tam Kohabal Lisavo Savam Basavod Avodat Bohel Moed Zot Avodat Mishpachot Hagir Shoni Lavod Umasa.
Oh, that's in. Oh, Masai. Yep.
And you'll
So touch that spot and kiss.
with your tzitzit again. Same drill.
Beautiful talit. Amen. You did it. You did it. All right. So you guys can come over here.
Yes. That's fine. Yeah. Yamdu Shayne.
For our second aliyah, we invite Jake to come on up and join us. And Michelle, you can take their place over there as you will have the honor of this second aliyah. You take that, I'll take this. Okay. Where are we?
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Vanessa. Right.
Oh, in the middle. No, interesting. Okay, hold on.
Okay. So you're gonna do
Angel hieroglyph.
Yeah, I don't even pretend.
your parents do. There you go.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Elam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Yitelanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'nasu et yirot hamishkan v'et ohel moed michsehu umichseh hatachash asher alav milmala v'et masach petach ohel moed v'et kalei hechatzer v'et masach petach sha'ar hechatzer asher al hamishkan al hamizbeach saviv v'et mitrehem v'et kol kelei avodatam v'et kol asher ya'aseh lahem ve'avadav al pi Aharon uvanav tihiyeh kol avodat b'nei hagershoni lechol masa'am ulechol avodatam ufikdotam aleihem b'mishmeret et kol hamasa'am zot avodat mishpechot b'nei hagershoni be'ohel moed umishmartam b'yad Itamar ben Aharon hakohen. This spot here. I'll take that back.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher natan lanu Torat Emet Yikayei Olam Nata B'Tohenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yeshar kofachem. Toda rabah.
You can retell us.
You're dismissed. Okay, let's cover that up. Before we move on to the next aliyah, we will take a moment in our service for a prayer for cholim, a blessing for those in our community who are in need of healing, whether it's healing of the body or healing of the spirit. And so I'm going to ask, I know some folks already let me know that they'd like to add some names. And so I'm going to ask you, if you would like to add someone's name to our prayers aloud, to just raise your hand. If you would prefer to keep their names quiet in your mind and in your heart, that's okay too. But if you would like to share them aloud, then as I come around the room, I'll call on you so that you can add their names aloud to our prayers as well. Avi. We also add Debbie Cohen, Eileen Silver, Lucas Fretz, Bracha Bat Shayne Yafa, Tiffany Sermons, Benjamin Ben Rachmiel, Barbara Miller, Mordechai Avram Ben Azriel, Janice Webb, Jonathan Holland, Avraham Chaim Ben Ephraim, Yosefa Bat Chaim Vahanalea, Raphael Ben Reuven Vethega, Jean Marie Maisel, Benjamin Ben Rivka, Rhoda Bolkin, Shoshana Bat Miriam, Sipichaya Bat Yitzhak, Gilbert Benjamin, Saralaya Bat Devorah, Jackie Rosenberg, Zivin Ben Yosef, Yita Bat Golda, Helene Klein, and Mel Greenberg. Mi Shaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Imotenu Sarif Karachel V'Leah Hu Yivarach V'Yirapeh Et HaCholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimaleh Rachamim Aleihem L'Chazikam L'Rapotam V'Yishlach Lachem Mehira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf V'Toch Sh'ar HaCholim V'Chazek Et Yedei HaOskim B'Torcheihem Shabbat Hi Milzok Refuah Krova Lavo Hashtab Agala V'Yizman Kari V'Nomar Amen. We pray for a speedy recovery for all those we mentioned, all those we hold in our hearts, much strength for all of our caretakers, and much wisdom for all of our doctors, nurses, and researchers. Okay. Do-si-do. Okay. So, this is kind of a big moment as we come to our third Aliyah. On the one hand, when a young person becomes 12 or 13, for some reason it's 12 for the age of girls and 13 for boys, the secret is that as soon as you turn that age, boom, you are bar bat mitzvah. You are an adult in the Jewish community. No party is necessary, no service, no prayers, no Torah, no nothing. But that wouldn't be very much fun. So, it has become a tradition in contemporary times, especially over the last few decades, to mark this coming of age by kind of showing what you've learned. To take, the cumulative result of all of the years that we've had of religious school, all the time that you've spent in class learning to read Hebrew and learning the prayers in our prayer services, and all of the ways that you have learned to engage with Torah like you showed us in the Devar Torah. And to be able to then have this momentous occasion. And as much as learning Torah, to read Torah, actually feels like the big deal, because that's one of the hardest things that Shayne had to do, correct me if I'm wrong, in order to get ready for today, the big deal actually is saying the blessings before and after the Torah reading, as Shayne's parents and grandparents just did. Because until you are an adult in the Jewish community, you're not someone who is yet invited to do that. That's something that's reserved for the adult members of the Jewish community. There's lots of ways other folks can be involved, like the way Madison opened the Ark and coming up to share readings and just help lead prayers in other ways, but that is the really big moment. And so you'll hear that the way that we also announce this big moment is a little bit different than the way that we called everyone else up to really represent and what's about to happen, and so that if you weren't paying attention to where we were in the service, you would know exactly what was happening. You don't think?
No, I'm just thinking there's a lot of pressure now. Yamod, 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 Habachor Habar Mitzvah, Sheikh Chaim Ben Yaakov Michal Ariel Matir Chazak.
Yad in one hand. Take this, take your tzitzit, touch the spot where you start with your tzitzit.
We're on page 792.
Yeah, kiss. Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Merach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher Bahar Banu Makol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torto Baruch Atah Adonai Notina Torah.
Amen.
B'nei Merari V'mish Bahotam V'veit Avotam Tifkodotam Mi Ben Shalashim Shana V'ma'ola V'ad Ben Hamishim Shana Tifkodem Kol Batzava L'avod Avodat Ohel Moed V'zot Mishmeret Masam L'kol Avodatam Ohel Moed Karshei HaMishkan Uvrihav V'amudav V'adanav V'amudei Hetzer Saviv V'neihem Tirotam U'mitrehem L'kol Kalehem L'kol Avodatam U'shemot Tifkadu Et Kalei Nishmeret Masam Zot Avodat Mishpachot B'nei Merari L'kol Avodatam Ohel Moed Yad Itamar Ben Aharon HaKohen.
Now kiss the spot where you landed with your talit.
I have no idea.
That's approximate. And then go do the blessings after.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam natan b'tzochenu Baruch Atah Adonai notina Torah.
Amen. Now you go stand in the middle. And you can go down.
Hand it here. Okay. Stand in the middle.
Okay. Stay right there. Ahad, Shayne, Shalosh. Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov. Yeheilanu, 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 Uleho Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Uleho Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Uleho Yisrael. Now follow the lead of Miss Abby Hay, and if you would like to come pick up some of the blessings, come on down and help us clean up the bima, because we wouldn't want them to go to waste. But please share with others. Share with others, Avi. Okay. Thanks. No, you showed us what to do. Your Mr. Patrick's speech is next, okay? So go grab it. Okay. All right. So hopefully some of those blessings made their way to Shayne. Otherwise, you're going to have a tasty treat right now filled with blessing. We'll see. The only thing that we ask is if you are partaking of the blessings while you're in your seats, please take all the trash with you when you leave, and don't leave them for our wonderful ushers at the back of the room who have been so helpful. Thank you for helping us this evening. So as a part of becoming bar mitzvah here at BTBJ and at many synagogues around the world, we ask our students to, in addition to all of the other Hebrew preparation and the writing that they've done, we ask them to also engage in some sort of mitzvah project. which entails thinking about all of the different things that we can do in the world, because unfortunately we know that there are many things that still are very much in need of healing in our world. And we talk about tikkun olam, the healing and repair of our world. And so we hope that each of our students can identify one area that speaks to them for some reason. Maybe it's something that they care a lot about, maybe it's something that they've been personally affected by, either themselves or their family, so that they can find a way in and to do something to make the world a better place, and also something that feels really meaningful to them. So Shayne's going to tell you a little bit about what he chose to do for his mitzvah project.
For my Mitzvah project, I'm collecting online purchases of toys, games, or individual monetary donations for CHOP. I want to make sure when kids have to have extended visits at the hospital that they have toys and games to entertain themselves during their stay. I set up a website and created a QR code to collect virtual donations for this cause. I chose to donate to CHOP because I love gaming so much, and I wanted to make sure sick children had an opportunity to enjoy games as well. Also, since CHOP is close to where we live, I thought this would be a great cause. My goal is to raise $500 to donate towards CHOP, and I am well on my way to exceed this goal. If you are interested in making a donation towards this cause, please find the flyer with the QR code in the lobby to help out. I'm very hopeful that with your help, that I will exceed my goal from donations. I want to thank my parents for supporting me in helping get this project all set up. I also want to thank Val and all of the synagogue staff to make sure that the advertisement for my Mitzvah project went out each week in the synagogue newsletters. I also want to thank Rabbi Roni and Kendra Benjamin for making sure that I was fully prepared for this day. Thanks to all of you for learning about this Mitzvah project, and I hope you can support it. Thank you.
Mazel tov.
There's no one clapping. Okay.
Mazel tov, Shayne. Nope, you have to stay up here. Yeah. Keep playing with the fidget. You're good, dude. So, this is usually the part where I try and persuade whoever's having the bar bat mitzvah to sign up for Kesher Teens next year. But according to your parents, you're already you heard the words movies and pizza, and you were in. So this could be a very short speech, but don't worry, I'm not going to be that short. So one of the things that we don't have in common is video games. You love them. This is like what happens when I used to play Mario as a kid. Yeah. But if you think about how video games have sort of evolved, you had those games in on the Nintendo, and as the gaming systems, as the technology has evolved and gotten more sophisticated, you get the crazy, cool, awesome games that you like to play on your PC now, right? Have you ever played any of the retro video games? From like Pac-Man and any of that stuff? Okay, so there are two movies in the last 10-ish years that, one really good, one really terrible, that's kind of goes down the video game track. One of them is one of the worst movies ever, called Pixels. And it's Adam Sandler, and it's this idea that Jake's like, wait, where's this going? Pixels was this really bad Adam Sandler movie where he and his friends who used to play arcade games in the 80s had to defend the world against invaders by playing those games in lifelike settings. And while the movie was pretty bad, there's an amazing scene where they play a life-size Pac-Man on the streets of New York, and that's the grid. And for those kinds of scenes, it's actually worth seeing. But the point I'm trying to make is, in those old video games, in those older games, what you couldn't impress people with graphics because they were pretty rudimentary, you had to get people roped in through the skill that it really took to play those games well. And that's why they became so successful. And the more recent movie that's really good that you should watch if you have the chance is on Apple TV now, and it's called it's about Tetris. And it's about, like, you've played Tetris, right? It's like puzzles, and you're trying to like get all this stuff.
So good.
You know what it is, good. But the whole point is that even something as rudimentary as that, as basic as that game was, even though it's so retro, it's still something that keeps inspiring people, regardless. And this movie, if you get a chance to watch it, it's really interesting. It's about trying to get Tetris out of the Soviet Union into the rest of the world. And so when you have something retro and that took, like, real craft and care and did the best that it possibly could, that's kind of what Torah is a little bit. It's like we don't have, the Hebrew is kind of an older language, yes, that we just evolved, that we brought back in the last 100 years. And it's something that is still continuing to inspire people and to make our lives special. And so my hope is that, like you are with your video games, that you continue to find inspiration from this great ancient document, the same way that people are still finding inspiration and stuff to do with these old retro video games. So, Mazel Tov, you did a great job, you're doing a great job, and we're incredibly proud of you.
Stay there. Hi. Now it's my turn. Hi. Okay. You just stay there. You have an easy job at this point. Okay. Yashkoach Shayne. I hope that you are proud of what you have been doing here tonight. Reading through your Torah portion, helping to lead prayers, and it was hard to do, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope that you can remember this day, remember that there was this challenge before you, but that you worked hard and that you accomplished your goals. Even things that felt super hard to start out, you were able to do, and you did it really well, okay? Never forget that. So last night at your service, we talked a little bit about the way that Torah is and has been passed down from one person to the next for thousands of years. And each time we encounter portions of the text that when we read them again every year, we're likely to receive them differently. Maybe we're standing in a different spot, like we talked about last night. Maybe we're a little bit different. But we can find new meaning or new difficulties in the text as we grow and change, and as the world around us also grows and changes in different ways. And we can see this so clearly with the way that you related your Torah portion to the pandemic. Before 2020, this was not something the students would have had the perspective to be able to do. And they would have read some of those pieces of text that you were able to find meaning in today, and it would have felt maybe a little bit foreign to them. At the same time, there are other pieces of Torah text that we continue to relate to just as when they were first received. And one such example is also in your Parsha, and it is the words of the priestly blessing, which come a little bit later in the Torah portion. And there's a blessing, this is a blessing that Aaron, the high priest, used to give this blessing to all of the people on a regular basis. And first it was Aaron, the high priest's job. Then, when he was not with us anymore, he passed that job on to others. And so the same way that we passed along Torah, we also passed along that blessing power. And today, that blessing power lies with all of us. We are the ones who get to bless one another. And so last night we offered this blessing, and at the end of our service today, we're going to do it again. And today, it's the tradition in many households for parents to bless their children with these words, which are in your Parsha, on every Friday night. And then we also get to regularly bless our community with them. So lots of other things, as I said, are all in your Parsha, and it's so cool to see all the different pieces that we can find and pull out. As you become bar mitzvah and an adult in the Jewish community, we hope that the words of this ancient blessing that we have will forever inspire you, will forever connect you with the Jewish community in whatever way works for you and whatever way you find yourself in as you continue to become an adult and travel the world.
And we hope that it will also empower you to be a blessing in the world. May you continue to find ways to bring light, graciousness, and favor to the world around you, all things that come out of this blessing. And may you continue to always go from strength to strength. I have a couple of things for you. One is I want to share with you a Misha Berach specifically for becoming bar mitzvah, and then also share with you a certificate to remember this day as well. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et Shei Chaim ben Yaakov v'Micha Ariel asher ala hayom likvod hamakom v'likvod haTorah v'hamitzvah. Yehi Elohim imo bayamim haba'im ka'asher haya imo miyom hivalda ve'ad heina. Yehi ratzon Elohim legadlehu b'vriyut haguf v'hanefesh b'tfuna uva'anvat chen v'ahavat habriot uva'ahavat Torah v'yimtzei chen v'seichel tov b'nei Elohim v'adam yiru horav v'yismachu ukrovav ya'alozu v'nomar amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless you, Shayne, son of Michelle and Jake, who has risen today for the honor of the omnipresent and for the honor of Torah and of mitzvah. May God's presence fill your life in the days to come, just as God's sustenance has been with you since the day of your birth. May you grow in health of body and of spirit, in wisdom and in graciousness, humility and love of others, and in love of Torah. May you find favor and distinction in the eyes of God and your fellow human beings, and we all say together, Amen. On your certificate, it says along the side, in both in Hebrew and English, undertake the study of Torah to make it your own. It is not yours only by inheritance. And even as today you are inheriting our tradition, Torah, your talit, we also hope that you'll continue to find ways to make it your own so that you can also teach us for many years to come. It's for you. Mazel tov. Okay. So it is now my pleasure to invite up Beth Schwartzman, who is going to have a chance to speak to you, Shayne, on behalf of our congregation. Over there.
Hi.
You guys hear me? Do I need the live stream? The live stream. The live stream. So I'll get with the live stream once. Yeah. Mazel tov to you, Shayne, and to your entire family. You did an amazing job today, and you have much to be proud of. Balancing all that you do in school with your many activities, tennis, playing video games, and of course coding, is no small task. Having a supportive family to help you get it done certainly is important, and you're lucky to have that. I know that you've been here at BTBJ probably for as long as you can remember, having started at our early learning center at the age of 1. In my own experience, with my son being in a similar situation, I found this to be an incredible part of his and our experience. You are literally, and we hope this continues, and I'm glad to hear that it is, a lifer. But the reality is that this is very much a crossroads for many young Jewish adults, and our hope is that you continue on this path and find your own way in our kahila. We value your family and look forward to everyone's continued participation in our many programs. Shayne, I loved hearing about your mitzvah project and the fact that it benefits children at CHOP. As a longtime employee of CHOP, I personally see how kids benefit from this. And projects such as yours are amazing, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. So Shayne, my wish for you on this day is that as you continue on your path in Judaism, you use your many gifts of kindness, sportsmanship, intellect, and generosity to do great and wonderful things in this world. So on behalf of the BTBJ Board, the Religious School Parents Support Group, the Sisterhood, and the Men's Club, I am honored to present you with these gifts of a Kiddush cup and a Tanakh. May they become a part of your continued path in Judaism. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Beth. Okay. So we are now going to turn our attention back toward our service. And we have some prayers to recite on page 178. So we are first going to recite together a prayer for the state of Israel. And then we will, I guess we'll do the prayers and then we'll lift and dress. Okay. A prayer for the state of Israel and then a prayer for peace. So please join with me on the left-hand side of the page. Ribono shel olam, kabel na barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu ba'ad medinat Yisrael. Sovereign of the universe, accept in loving kindness and with favor our prayers for the state of Israel, her government, and all who dwell within her boundaries and under her authority. Open our eyes and our hearts to the wonder of Israel and strengthen our faith in your power to work redemption in every human soul. Grant us also the fortitude to keep ever before us those ideals upon which the state of Israel was founded. Grant courage, wisdom, and strength to those entrusted with guiding Israel's destiny to do your will. Be with those on whose shoulders Israel's safety depends and defend them from all harm. Spread over Israel and all the world your shelter of peace, and may the vision of your prophet soon be fulfilled. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Lo yisal goy al goy charev, v'lo yamadu od milchama. I'd like to invite up Jimmy and Philu Goldblum to share with us the prayer for peace on page 178.
So this is a prayer for peace. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
Then nation will not threaten nation, and the human family will not again know war.
For all who live on earth shall realize, we've not come into being to hate or to destroy. We've come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion.
Fulfill a promise conveyed in Scripture. I'll bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war.
Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say, Amen.
Toda rabah. Thank you. We turn now to page 220, and I invite Shayne's Uncle Josh and Aunt Allie Goldblum to come up as we get ready to lift and dress our Sefer Torah. Please rise if you're comfortable and able to do so. Ya'amod ha'mafia ta'amod ha'golele. Is she here? Oh, that's okay. He can come too.
No, I have not. Sabrina, you come up. Sabrina, yes.
And I also want to invite Aunt Melissa Barsky to come on up to open the ark for when we come back around. Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 sivat lanu Moshe. There you go. Torah, 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 Torah. Here, now flip it around so that the front, this is, yep, push it, there you go. Torah, 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 Torah. This way. Torah, sivat lanu Moshe. Can you hand this to her when she's done? Torah, 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 sivat lanu Moshe. It goes on that one. Got it? I'm good. Four. All right. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I need a book.
We're on page 221.
Hallelujah,
And you can. Nice job, Yashko. You stay here. And so open the ark for when we come back. Yep. Come on over, Shane. You kind of see. Okay.
לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו, עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, בתומכי המאושר, דרכיה דרכי נועם, בכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, קדש קדש ימינו, קדש ימינו כקדם.
Thank you. Okay, you may be seated. We turn to page 222, and Shayne, can you help lead us in Hatzi Kaddish before we move into our Amidah?
V'yikadash shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
Yamad Yivra Kirete V'yamlich Malute,
V'chayechon
V'yomechon U'chayechon Be'Yisrael,
Bagala,
U'bizman Kariv V'imaru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Li'olam Li'amaya Yitbarach, Yitbarach V'yishabach, V'yitpa'ar V'yitromah V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh, V'yithalal, Shmei Kedusha B'rehu Le'ela, Min Kol Berchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata, Shamira Belma V'imaru. Amen.
I invite you to rise if you are comfortable and able to do so as we move into our Amidah. And our Amidah will begin all the way back on page 306, as we are still for a wee bit longer, both in the middle of both Shabbat and Shavuot. So we have a festival Amidah for this moment, and so we'll start out together, and then as we move through, there are some pieces that you can add on your own that cover the fact that we are also saying this on Shabbat, and then also some pieces for Shavuot. And when we move to the silent portion, you can either move through the words in Hebrew or in English, take in some of the poetry or commentary on the pages, or just take a quiet moment for yourselves and to notice the prayers in your heart.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Ha'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, Umevihi goel lifnei b'neihem, leman shemo b'yahava. Melech ozer u'vokenu Moshiach u'mayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Abraham u'vokei Tzara.
307.
Atah yibor le'olam Adonai, Mekayem eitim atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid ha'atal. Mekakel chayim b'chesed, Mekayem eitim b'rachamim ramim. Zorek noflim b'rofet kolim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato li Shayne afar. Michamocha bal yemurot, U'mido melach, melach mimit, U'mekayem, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanata l'achayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayem hameitim.
Amen. Page 308.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, keshem shemakishim oto, mishmei marom, mishmei marom. Hakatuv bayad neviyecha v'karatza el ze v'yamar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tzivot, melech ha'aretz kevodo. Baruch Yom Mehiru, Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimekomo, V'divrei Kodecha Katuv Lemor, Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Tzion, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Yolech Olei Tzendetzakim Kedushat Chalakim, Shivcha Chalaheinu Mipinu Lo Yimosh Lelamed, Yamach Kadosh Kadosh Adonai Baruch Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue silently through to page 314.
Say shalom Yimroman, V'yaseh shalom aleinu, V'yavo Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, V'yavo Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, V'yavo Yisrael, V'imru, amen.
We turn back now to page 230 for Kaddish Shalom.
Yetbarak fishbak mit ba'art from you say but drive to let lao shmir go shabrichu li ela mi kobe khat visharat tush bekhat v'nekamat dam yaram yamav ru amen take about lord hono you to go Israel go dam hono vishmai ru amen hesham ru mi shma ya bakayim ru ko Israel ru amen say shalom ru ma ya say shalom ru ko Israel ko vishmai bavim ru
Amen. We turn to page 231 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon l'kol l'tekiru l'aliyotzeh b'reishit kelo asan goyeh haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo samchachenu kahem v'yor aleinu k'kol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר, והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn to page 232 for Mourner's Kaddish. And this week in our community, we observe the yard sites of Max Abrams, Shirley Abrams, Howard Belkoff, Marcy Breslow, Kenneth Halal, Benjamin Chalfin, Ann Charov, Louis Kramer, Miriam Finkelstein, Aaron Fulmer, Daniel Grob, Yale Green, David Greenberg, Kitty Handel, Leona Katz, Nathan Kopu, Fred Kugler, Bernard Leschner, Robert Lynn, Rochelle Mason, Letty Millar, Rose Nadler, Louis Redder, Joseph Feingold, Alan Sack, Alfred Safran, Molly Satinsky, Eddie Searman, Harold Shore, Joseph Shore, Mary Silver, Stephen Slutsky, Louis Vizak, and Stephen Werner. If you are currently in a period of reciting Kaddish, or if you are observing the yard site of a loved one, I invite you to rise, along with all those who might wish to rise in support of the mourners, or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chaye dechol beit Yisrael v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach li'olam v'lomei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yithadar, v'yitale, v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who dwell on earth. And we say together, amen.
Amen.
Before we close our service, there's two very important people who have not yet had a chance to share some words with Shayne. So I'm going to invite Shayne to come back up to the microphone there, and for your parents, Jake and Michelle, to come on up.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shayne, we are proud of your hard work and dedication in preparing for this special day. You have grown into a remarkable individual. I remember leaving you at BTBJ when you were just a year old, under the excellent care of Marcy. They had taken such wonderful care of you, and this place has been like a second home to you. Although we have pushed you since September in preparing for your bar mitzvah, we know that you have been working so hard with Cantor Benjamin on your Hebrew, and you made us all so proud of you today. I was particularly impressed that you were more concerned about carrying the Torah than reading from it. Even though we have been having you do physically challenging tasks since you were like 4 years old. Remember all those Spartan races and all the bucket carries Dad made you do? Come on. We even named you after the Flying Hawaiian, Shane Victorino and Chase Utley, as your namesakes. You are bound to be strong enough. We know how much hard work you put into learning all of your prayers in Torah portion, and it shows by how well you led the prayers in today's service. I'd like to share some about the special traditions and symbolism that is in place today. The talis you were wearing is the same one that your dad wore for his bar mitzvah. The reception we're having today will be held at your grandparents' home
known as Camp Goldblum, where your dad and both of your uncles celebrated their bar mitzvahs. Continuing these traditions means a great deal to us. Next month, you will travel to Israel with your mama and papa to further celebrate your bar mitzvah. I recall during my own bar mitzvah, during all my preparations and all the hard work and the excitement for the party to come afterwards. That's soon to come. Shayne, I am immensely proud of the young man you are becoming. As Shayne led the service and delivered his Devar Torah speech, it is clear that he has found his Jewish identity, which to me is the essence of becoming a bar mitzvah. Dad and I have shared our Jewish traditions with Shayne, and we hope that one day he will continue these traditions with his own family. I want to express my gratitude to Shayne's Hebrew teachers who have generously invested their time and attention in him over the years. Special thanks to Rabbi Roni and Cantor Benjamin for ensuring Shayne stayed on track and learned all the prayers for today's service. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for all the care and time that you have dedicated to Shayne. Lastly, I would like to thank all of our family and friends who have traveled near and far to join us in celebrating Shayne's journey into the Jewish community. Being surrounded by all of you is the perfect way to commemorate Shayne's integration into our community. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So stay right there. So that blessing that we were talking about earlier, we now want to offer to you as we celebrate this milestone in your lives together. May God bless you and keep you safe. May God's light shine on you and grace your life. May God turn toward you and give you a world of peace. And we all say together, Amen. So as we close out our service today, I want to invite you to grab that Kiddush cup over there. It's just grape juice. He did drink the whole thing. He did drink the whole thing last night, though.
Yes, I chugged it. I chugged it last night. I was proud of myself.
Wait, what? You have to
Madison, come on up.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. It's still just grape juice. But he's very thirsty. All right.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Te'avon. Shabbat shalom. Mazel tov.
Some bread?
Just take that piece.
Enjoy your evening, everyone.